Richard on the line now. How you doing, Cliff?
I'm good, mate. I'm still on holiday, but nice to talk with you.
Are you in Portugal?
I am, yeah. The weather, I mean, I hate saying the weather's good here because I know it's been a terrible winter, a winter at home.
I tried to look for your winery, but I couldn't find it.
When were you down here?
It was, let me think, early in the summer.
Well, I mean, it was still there in the early part of the summer, but it's about 7 or 8 miles from Albufeira going west.
Yeah, all I could find was British fish and chip shops.
And a golf course.
And a golf course, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of those.
I talk about a couple of things. First of all, in front of me, I've got a thing. Is that a cuckoo clock?
Yeah. And it was a gift I had when I came to the house. I've never had the heart to throw it out.
Yeah, you want to set it right. In front of me, I was going to say, and they said it wouldn't last. Now, 1958 to 2008, that's 50 years of singing and performing. This album comes out when, and what kind of things are on it?
Well, it's a mixture of stuff. I think they're going to try and get all the singles I ever released. And they also found some stuff I'd recorded but hadn't released. In fact, one song I'm going to be doing on the stage when I do the tour, it turned out to be so good I'm going to close the first half with it. But when I first heard that I'd recorded this song, I sent the letter back to my secretary, Jill, and I said, Jill, I would remember if I recorded a song with this title, and I know I did not record it. Anyway, she said, well, I'll send you the record. And sure enough, hello, I did record it. And how could I forget it was called Mobile, Alabama School Leaving Hullabaloo.
What kind of song is it? Well, is it a country song or something?
It's a sort of country rock song, yeah, but it's sort of down south, and it's all about everybody wants to do dance that the kids all do at the Mobile, Alabama School Leaving Hullabaloo. And I sing it, I'm not even sure I can sing it like this anymore, I hope I can, with a kind of gravel to the throat. I sing the whole thing through with this gravelly sound, but I just loved it. I thought, how come we missed out? I think it's because I recorded it in that sort of period between, you know, The Devil Woman and We Don't Talk Anymore, and therefore it probably got washed over by those great songs.
You've got to the point in your career, and we'll talk about this when you come in later on in September.
Yeah.
You've got to the point where you're a beloved performer, you've got your fans, and you've got your critics, and we sort of bounce between the two.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why... Can I mention I've got a book coming out?
Yeah.
I've got a book coming out. And it's one of the reasons why I decided, obviously, for 50 years, that that's a good enough reason to say, okay, I'll write down my thoughts. With the help of a girl called Penny Jr., I went through a whole process of diagnosing myself, really, and seeing how I feel about everything now. So the book's going to have all my feelings about the 50 years, because, you know, when you mention 50 years, it has seemed to have slipped by, but you know darn well that life doesn't let everything slip by. It's been a wonderful, exciting, and hard-working time for me.
There's also a new single. When I first heard it, I thought, oh, is this kind of like a My Way type of thing?
It starts off like that. It's very theatrical in its opening section. I mean, the writer was obviously trying to set the pace, because the lyrics are about 50 years ago. A kid stood on the stage, meaning me, of course, trying to hold his nerve until the band started playing. And obviously the first chorus that we actually hit, which is a thank you to the public for sticking with me, sharing the glory. I mean, I really enjoyed the song. When I first heard it, I thought, well, it's an obvious and perfect song to release at this stage of my life. And I don't know whether we're going to get a number one with it. It's possible.
It just is this side of not corny.
It's only corny if you think saying thank you to people is corny. I've always said thanks. I've either thanked people because they've produced great records for me, or written good things about me, or written things for me. And in the same way, this is a song. How can you say thank you for 50 years without it not being up for grabs in terms of the corny critique? I always find that critics who criticize obviously are even cornier.
It's interesting. I mean, you've got such an incredibly loyal following, haven't you? And I know every single tour you do is totally chocker, and people still camp out to queue for tickets a full 24 hours before the box office opens. You must be thrilled.
They do, and I spend a lot of time in the book talking about the fans. It's hard to call it a relationship as such, because one obviously thinks of husband, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, friends, but although I may never meet them all, I meet some of them. But when you go to a concert, it either happens or it doesn't, but there's usually something between the artist and the public who sit out there. And my crowd have been totally loyal all the way. And I've tried to tell them as well, when they go and queue up for 3 weeks in the cold outside the Albert Hall, that is a fantastic boost for my profile. I always get a write-up somewhere saying, how could this happen? You know, after all these years, these fans are still queuing up, and I wonder if Westlife Slut do that. I don't know. Maybe
and you still get the same buzz, Cliff, don't you, after 50 years?
I do, actually, yeah. I really like it. People have started, using the word retire, or are you going to retire?
No, you're not.
I keep thinking to myself, I'd like to slow down, and what I've done is I have, in a way, slowed down, except that when the work comes, it's ferocious.
That's a good word, because you're still opinionated, feisty, you're enthusiastic.
And determined.
You've got the energy. How can you do that after 50 years? There must be a point at which you say, I'm not going to do this.
I would have.
Well, I'm not saying it hasn't crossed my mind, but usually it's at the end of a tour when, in fact, when you go on a long tour, if you do a 6-8 week tour in Britain, then go and take it away to the Far East for a couple of months, you come back and you are zonked.
Yeah.
Because you don't eat correctly, or you eat in the wrong times of the day, you're waking up when everyone's going out to the show, and your body is really shot, and you think, why do I do this to myself? But that's the only time I ever think of doing it. Then about 2 days goes by, and I'm thinking, I wonder what I'll do next. So it does stay, and I guess art is like that, isn't it? Whether you're a dancer, actor, singer, whatever, or painter, you still feel that there's something else you'd like to share.
Yeah.
And of course, in our industry, it's very success-orientated, and I think I've had more than my fair share of success. While I can still do it, I just feel it would be nice to go out there and do it. And then the day that no one comes, then I'll stop.
We were saying earlier on that George Michael, of course, has done his last concerts. But how long do you give it before George comes back? Because we were discussing this earlier. We thought 18 months, 2 years?
It really depends on the personality. If he really feels jaded, then perhaps it's good to leave, because I remember Elton pulled out of everything for a while. Do you remember when he became a football manager? No, he owned a club, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the best thing he did, because when he came back from that, I think he was better than ever. And so George might be thinking, I'll just get out. But who knows, maybe weeks, months, or a couple of years, and he's going to be thinking, I've got another song in my head.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Thank You for a Lifetime is released on Monday, 8th of September, and Cliff will be coming into the studio for a more in-depth chat on Friday, September 12th, which time we'll talk about the book and the tour and all of that stuff. So, listen, thank you for taking time out today. Really appreciate it. And here comes Thank You for a Lifetime, and thank you, Cliff. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Cliff Richard, everybody. Thanks, Cliff.